and welcome to our first video tutorial for SOEN 390. We did a set of videos for you guys because we know it gets crazy throughout the semester with the workload that you have, especially around due dates and exam periods. And only making available slides was not the best solution. So hopefully these videos are going to prove to be more useful than just slides, because we know how much time is spent trying to understand what is meant by a set of slides versus actually getting the work done. So let's get started. First things first, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Chris. I'll be your TA for this class. Just to give you a little background check, I took this class last year and I was given the chance at the end of the semester to TA this class, produce the content for the tutorials, and also improve the overall structure of the course based on feedback that I got from my peers and my personal experience going through this class. As you've noticed, these videos are something new to classes that you've taken before. So this was one of the improvements that we brought to this class. I hope you do reach out to me at christopher.yazbek@gmail.com with any feedback that you have, whether it be things you liked, things you didn't like, things you found you would have liked to have, and hopefully, if time permits, we'll be able to retweak whatever we need for your year, and if not, then it'll always be useful for the years to come. So let's talk more about the bidding document. What is a bidding document? When a company wants to outsource a project, they're going to send out a brief description of the project they want to developers and give them the opportunity to bid on the project and say why they are the best suit for that project. For example, your client reached out to you guys and said, these are the projects I want: M Rides, M Common Jobs, M Taxis, and M Barters. And basically, you're limited by the platforms that you see on this side. Just so you know, guys, we will be covering more in depth in terms of the platforms in their corresponding video tutorials. So don't worry about those for now. Just focus about the bidding doc and getting the project and the platform that you want so that you would enjoy the next 6 months of school. First things first, let's talk about introduction. What do I expect to see in an introduction? It's very simple, very short. You want to elaborate about the problem that you're trying to solve and what inspired your team with having chosen that project. I'm going to pull out here the bidding doc that my team used in my year, and as you can see, it's very short, 6 sentences total, 2 little paragraphs, covering the project context and what is it we're trying to do. And in my year, we were doing an app for a museum, and what we were trying to do is give a guided tour of the museum through the app without needing a guide. So this way people would be able to visit at their own pace. Second part is going to be the projects and the platforms that you're going to choose from. So the projects we've talked about, platform we'll talk about in a couple of seconds. But this is the structure you want to work with, where you're going to highlight the first and second choice that you have and the motivation experience that goes with it. It could be domain specific, saying like you've had this problem and this is why you feel you want to have this project and get to work on this. It could be also you've already worked with that platform, saying I've already developed an Android app with Android Studio. This is why we should use this, because whatever you feel would add to this. And any additional information, this is the fun part of this class, is this is a real world scenario, so there is no right and wrong. Whatever you feel you would have done in the real world, you get to try here and get an actual feedback from an actual person saying that if that would have worked or not. So if you think in the real world you would have given these options of these projects, try whatever you would have tried to get for your team the right platform and the right project for you guys. In terms of platforms, you have the choice between Android, Xamarin, and Ionic. Android Studio being a Java native language for Android, it could only be compiled for Android, so as the name says it, versus Xamarin and Ionic being 2 cross-platform frameworks. Xamarin is written in C# and now is owned by Microsoft, and Ionic is web languages, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So if you're familiar with web languages, you're going to feel right at home with Ionic. And they both let you build Android and iOS apps. Just so you know, if you don't have a Mac, you won't be able to compile the iOS module, but you'll still be able to build the Android side of the app. So I'm just going to show you quick based on that bidding doc that we seen. Our first choice in my year was Xamarin, and the second one was Android native. Just so you know, in my year we have worked with Android Studio before, but we thought to use as our motivation the fact that it's a real world scenario where we don't get to choose what project or platform we'll be given, and then when I get to work in a company. So choosing Xamarin was this real world. Okay, we got to drill down and get this working. So let's figure this out. And to my surprise, it's very simple. C# is very close to Java, so don't worry about a lot about the syntax and oh my god, this language and the learning curve is going to be huge. Hopefully it won't, depending on your team members. Hence, team members. So, and the last part, you want to talk about your team. You want to describe each and individual team member that you have and what are their backgrounds and what are their skills. So basically like a mini pitch. And I'm going to show you my team in my bidding doc. So based on the name, we decided to work off of a kind of a comic book style. Believe me, you don't need to do that to get the project that you want or the platform that you want. It was fun. This is what brought our own touch to this. So this is how we did it, and this is all 16 members of my SOEN team. And at the end, we added a couple of things that we found might be more relevant in terms of driving the decision that, oh, let's give them Xamarin. They've already showed motivation in terms of building an app, having the SDK working, and we've already done some research in terms of how we want to do this. So really don't underestimate motivation. And last but not least, your conclusion is what's going to help tie in all of this together. Your team members, their experience, your motivation, your experience, everything together into why should we choose you and give you that project and that platform with it. And that's about it for this tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.